was no surprise to anyone when Sunday and Tom had adopted her baby too. Smiling, Sunday turned her attention back to the invitations, but she had barely started to write again when the door burst open and Cissy Jenkins, her long-term friend, burst unceremoniously into the room, all of a flutter. "You'd best come straight away, pet," Cissy gasped, holding her hand to the stitch in her side. "My George says Tom has had a fall in the paddock. I've sent Ben off for Dr. Lewis." Whereas time had been kind to Sunday, Cissy looked her age and had grown portly with the years. Their friendship had started when they were both children, incarcerated in the Union workhouse, and had withstood the test of time until now they were more like sisters than friends, and Sunday loved her unconditionally. The colour drained from Sunday's cheeks, and she stood up so abruptly that she almost overturned the chair. "A fall? Is it bad?" Cissy shook her head. "I've no idea. You'd best come and see." Side by side, the two women rushed through the house, and once they had emerged into the stable yard, they turned as one and began to race towards the group at the back of the stables, where Tom trained the horses. "Was it Storm he fell from?" Sunday asked breathlessly, and when Cissy nodded, she bit her lip. Hadn't she told him that she didn't think Storm was ready to be ridden yet? He was a beautiful young stallion, and admittedly from brilliant stock, but had proved very difficult to train. They rounded the corner to see Storm tossing his head, snorting and pawing the ground at the other side of the paddock, while George leaned over Tom, who was lying motionless on the ground. Sunday was glad of the new calf-length skirts that were fashionable now as she sped towards them. "Don't try and move him," George warned as she dropped to her knees beside them. She showed no sign of hearing him as she focused her attention on her husband and gently lifted his hand. "Oh, Tom, why didn't you wait for another couple of weeks before you tried to ride him?" she whispered. "He's out cold," George said unnecessarily. "Best not touch him till the doctor gets here in case he's broken anything. We might make things worse." Then, turning to his wife, he said, "Run and fetch a blanket to cover him, would you, love?" Cissy set off straight away. The late autumn air was cold. Luckily, the cottage she and George lived in was close by, and she was back huffing and puffing in minutes. George had barely had time to cover Tom with the blanket when they heard the sound of horses' hooves, followed by that of an engine, and Ben and the doctor arrived back at the same time. As Ben leapt nimbly from his horse, the young doctor climbed out of his car and hurried towards them, clutching a large black leather bag. Dr. Lewis was a nice young man, fresh out of medical school, who had recently taken over the practice when Sunday's family doctor retired. "Is he conscious?" he asked, as he too fell to his knees beside Tom. Sunday shook her head fearfully, still holding tight to her husband's hand. "No, he isn't." The doctor nodded as he hastily took a stethoscope from his bag. "Could you all stand back, please, and give me some space?" His face was grim as he bent to listen to Tom's heart. Then very gently he lifted Tom's head. It lolled to one side, and Sunday's heart began to pound so loudly she was sure they would hear it. The doctor sat back on his heels for a moment, then shook his head as he looked at Sunday and told her gravely, "I'm so sorry, Mrs. Branning. I'm afraid he's gone. It looks like he broke his neck in the fall. Death would have been instantaneous. He wouldn't have felt anything." "No!" Sunday's head wagged from side to side in denial, and Cissy started to cry, while George and Ben stood so still they might have been turned to stone. "But he can't be dead." Sunday began to shake Tom's hand, and Cissy leaned down and gently drew her to her feet. "Come away, pet," she muttered through her tears. "There's no more you can do here. The men will do what needs to be done." Sunday suddenly uncharacteristically lashed out, almost sending Cissy flying. "So what do I do then?" she cried in an anguished voice. "Just leave him lying there?" Then, turning to George and Ben, she ordered in a voice quite unlike hers, "Get a door from the stables and carry him inside. I refuse to leave him lying out here." The men instantly went to do her bidding, as Sunday turned and